Hello, BCISD family. My name is Dr. Peña, and I'm the proud superintendent of Burnet Consolidated ISD. Now, I've been going around for almost 5 months talking with community groups, parents, teachers, but I decided it's time to really hone in on what we're going to be working on this year. What is our major district initiative? Now, our theme this year is one team, one dream. But when you think about one dream, what is something we can all get behind? Well, it's having quantitative measures of our excellence as well as qualitative measures of our excellence. In other words, we want to make sure that in every area, BCISD is doing the absolute best. This also includes our instructional environment. As a matter of fact, that is one of our district goals, to improve our instructional environments by aligning what students are doing with the state standards. So if you think about our major initiative, that's what it is. In a nutshell, we want to make sure that every student in BCISD, from pre-K all the way to senior level courses, are getting to work on the right kind of work. So let me give you a couple of examples just to get us started. Let's take a second grade state standard. So this one would be in science. Students would need to identify and compare the physical characteristics of plants and animals. So what we're doing is helping our teams to have those conversations. If we want students to master this standard, what would students be doing? I bet you can think of a few examples that would be aligned to this standard. Now, this is a pretty basic low-level standard. Students have to identify and they have to compare the physical characteristics of plants and animals. So a worksheet could potentially be appropriate. Now, what if we took it up a notch, though, as the state standards actually do? This is another second grade science example. It goes up to a much higher level if you start thinking about what students have to do. Observe, record, and compare how the physical characteristics and behaviors of animals help them meet their basic needs. So now we're getting it into more of a real world kind of a situation. So the activities that students are doing have to change. That worksheet that we saw in the first example may not work in this second example. Now let's take it up a notch again. And so in these examples, teams would get together and they would have these discussions, thinking through what are the appropriate activities to make sure we're aligned in these second grade examples. So what if the standard is students have to master examining evidence that living organisms have basic needs such as food, water, shelter, and they have to describe the patterns of behaviors in which the organisms obtain those needs. So let's think about that kind of an activity. Well, students are going to be examining evidence. Again, this is a much higher order thinking kind of a scenario. They also need to be able to describe in some way those patterns of behaviors. Teachers, what they would do is come together to discuss what are the best activities that we can have students working on to target and align to this particular objective. So when you're out there wondering, well, what's Dr. Peña really about? It's really not rocket science. It's aligning all of our instruction to the state standards. I'm not a worksheets yes, I'm not a worksheets no guy. What I am is we want to make sure that all of our planning and all of our instructional efforts are going towards helping students master the objectives that we need to master. Now let's kick it up to third grade, following along with the same kind of science example. In this example, the state standard requires students to investigate and research how the unique characteristics and behaviors of an animal help it to survive in its environment. And they have to present those findings in a multimedia format. So we've got to ask ourselves, is that worksheet from the very first example going to work to help students master this standard? Well, obviously not. This is now a project-based approach. And so what we're focusing on with teachers and teams is to make sure that we're focused on the standards themselves. And then as lesson designers, we're putting together the best activities or series of activities to help students learn and master these objectives. Now, folks, I'm going to be quite honest with you. Right now, the accountability for Texas is wrapped up in the courts. We don't have our accountability out yet, but I will say, when it does finally come out, we've got our work cut out for us. We have some challenges. We've got to focus on making sure that our students are mastering and thinking at the appropriate levels and mastering those standards. So if you're wondering, well, what's Dr. Peña about? I've just shared it with you. I dream, and I hope we all have this same dream, that every student in BCISD will have the appropriate, well thought out, well-designed lessons in every class, every day of the school year. That's how we're going to be number one in the state of Texas. There'll be quantifiable evidence as well as qualifiable evidence of our excellence. I hope you have a wonderful day. Don't forget to come out and support the Bulldogs on Friday night, and I'll see you very soon.